halfway point of the season, official club messaging, it's on. Hello and welcome to part 85 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we're away against Fleetwood and then at home against Exeter, both in League One. Since you were last with me, we've finally got back into a decent run of form. It's a long time since there's been some red, certainly some league red. We're way back in October and it's now January. We did have a little sticky patch where we were just drawing a lot of games, but we are now back to winning ways. Ricky German is a superstar. He has scored some goals for us recently. 10 goals from 11 starts for us in League One so far this season. We have a new hero, everybody, and his name is Ricky German. The league table as it stands right now looks like this. Halfway through the season, we're 4 points off top of the league, Bradford. We do have the best goal difference in the league as well because of German and Fisher and Weaver and McDonald and just everybody scoring for fun. But the important thing is we are very much in the playoff picture and still in with a very good chance of forcing our way into the automatic promotion places in this second half of the season. The transfer window opens today. We don't really have much in the way of spensies, so don't expect much in the way of business unless, of course, we sell someone, because as usual, our balance has fallen back into the negative now. So there might be the possibility that we have to move somebody on, but having done the Ibrahim deal in the summer, we now know the kind of deal that we can expect, and we're not going to be letting anybody leave cheaply, that's for sure. So, our team for today's game. In goal, Robbie Nadat! Robbie is back! A back four of Anderson, Hughes, Sawyer and Mole. Fletcher, Johnson and Barber in midfield with Ball in behind McDonald and German. Weaver has picked up an injury in his last game, I think. Where is he? Why have I got all the kids loaded up as well? Let's just have a look at the senior squad. So Lee Weaver is going to be out for a month or so. He's got a twisted ankle. So it is an opportunity for McDonald to show me why he deserves to be in the team. Dan Fisher hasn't been in the best of form this season. He's had his odd moment where he's scored some pretty important or pretty spectacular goals. But I think the big issue we've got with Dan Fisher is he's not a target man. He wants to be playing in the same position as Ricky German. They both want that advanced forward role, and we can't play them both there. German is in incredible form, and we're just going to keep an eye on him. As soon as his form starts to drop off, Fisher can come back in. But both Weaver and McDonald have had cracking seasons for us before playing as the target man. So I think we're kind of in a situation where it's one of Weaver and McDonald with one of German and Fisher as our strike partnership. And they're kind of interchangeable within that. But you would suggest probably our two best strikers are Fisher and German. And I don't think we can play them together. James Ball puts us 1-0 up on 7 minutes. It was a cross from German. It's a lovely finish from Ball. And James Ball, with a little bit of pressure from, I want to call him Robertson. It could be Richardson. It could be something else entirely. The lad who's on loan from West Ham. You can tell I haven't played this save for a couple of days. What is his blooming name? Anyway, he's under pressure from him and his Richardson. There we go. And I think James Ball's form has improved accordingly for being under a little bit of pressure. Ball's always been good, but he's been extra special good just recently. Playing deeper a lot of the time as well with Richardson in the team. Ball drops back into that deep line playmaker, the most offensive one of our midfield four, and he looks good there as well. So I think James Ball has a long history, has a long future. He's already had a long history, has many more years to come in our midfield, even if we replace him as the attacking midfielder, because he'll just drop back into that 3 and do a blooming excellent job there as well. Jay Johnson has just put us 2-0 up. As it stands right now, we are up into second place in the league, 1 point behind Bradford. Bradford must be in the middle of a slip-up today, because we were 4 points behind them at the start of play. So presumably Bradford are losing their game. Bradford are losing 1-0 at home to Wigan at the moment. So this is a bit of an opportunity for both us and Forest today to force ourselves back into that automatic promotion picture a little bit. And Forest have done exactly that. They've gone ahead in their game. And it is slowly drifting towards becoming a bit of a 3-horse race for those 2 automatic promotion spots at the moment. There's quite a big gap between the 3 of us and then Wimbledon chasing behind us. Although it's gone, I thought it was a 6-point gap. It's now down to a 4-point gap, so it's not that big a gap. But I wouldn't be averse to being part of a 3-team breakaway group. I don't want to be the one that misses out on the automatic promotion spot. I always feel like when you get these 3-team breakaways and only 2 of them can get up automatically, it's usually that third team doesn't usually do very well in the playoffs because of the disappointment of ending up in the playoffs. So if we are going to be part of a breakaway group, then we need to make sure we finish in the top half of it, because we don't want to be the ones who bumble around all sad and mess up the playoffs. Right, Fletcher's going to come off for White. Barber's going to come off for Richardson, and we are going to drop ball back into the midfield and stick him where he's good, which is there. Just move those two around a little bit. I think that'll do. And we'll leave it there for now. I need to get Dan Fisher on, really. But German's still playing very well. I do worry that we're gonna upset Dan Fisher and scare him away. He's obviously 4 or 5 years younger than German. German, I think, is 28 or 29. So he's not an immediate too old to play for us threat. But you would think he's only got another 2 years maximum being able to get into our team, and probably doesn't have the potential to step up and take on the Championship at his age, whereas Fisher probably does. So I certainly don't want to upset Fisher to the point where he wants to leave. But on the flip side of that, I still think Dan Fisher's going to be our first 7-figure sale. And if we've got Ricky German there as his replacement already, who gives us that year or two to bring through the next Dan Fisher, then I'm not averse to letting Fisher go for £1 million at some point in this transfer window. But we are going to get him on now, partly to stop him getting too upset, and partly to remind other clubs that he exists, to try and squeeze that £1 million offer out of somebody. Obviously, in the real world, it'd be like 5 million, but Football Manager, I don't know, Football Manager seems to have mastered the inflated transfer fees at the top level now. You see a lot of £100 million plus transfers in Football Manager in FM18, but I don't think the bigger transfer fees are filtered down to this level yet, because there are players, as a League One fan myself, Jack Marriott being the example I always go back to, I would be really upset if Posh sold him for £5 million, because I think he's worth double that. And whereas Dan Fisher, you could argue, scores goals at a similar sort of rate to Marriott, similar sort of age. I think we'd be really lucky to get £1 million for him. I don't think we'd have any chance of pushing it any higher. So that might be something to work on next year, Football Manager. Let those big transfer fees filter down a little bit. But for now, we are second in the league, just 1 point behind Bradford, with the opportunity to end the episode top of the league, which would be marvellous. Just a little bit of squad rotation for the Exeter game then. Ibrahim comes back in at right back. White comes in for Johnson in midfield, and we're going to get Richardson back in the team at the expense of James Ball. We played 2 days ago. There's a lot of tired legs knocking around. There's a few more I could have rotated out as well. But what I don't want to do is ruin our 11-game unbeaten run that we're currently on by rotating too much in one go. We're going to have a little bit of a rest for, I think, 5 days after this game. The Christmas period is stupid. It always asks you that thing in game. Do you think you'd benefit from a winter break? I do think we'd benefit from a winter break. We don't even need to take weekends off, though. Just stop loading 3 games a week in at this time of year. We shouldn't be playing on the Saturday and then again on the Monday 2 weeks in a row, or whatever ridiculous scenario we've got ourselves into. Too much football. People should be at home eating turkey and pulling crackers and, I don't know, playing on their Mega Drive or whatever they got for Christmas. We're top of the league right now, boys and girls. Bradford must be behind in their game. This is a nice place to hang out. I like being top of the league. Hopefully it's a place we can sustain for the rest of the season. He hopes. I don't think it's very likely that will happen, but you never know. Cross comes in. It's Hughes. It's 1-0 to Nuneaton. This would make it 12 games unbeaten if we can pick up a victory here, or avoid defeat here, I guess. We're starting to put together a little bit of a win streak as well. In addition to being unbeaten for a long time, we're also winning a lot of games, and that goal difference advantage is getting bigger and bigger. We do look like a good team. I think we are. I think we're bound for the Championship this year. We look good, and the more this run goes on through the leagues, the more excited I am about Joe Anderson, because, as I've said a few times before in this save, I've never played a game of Football Manager like this before. I've never done a one club road to glory thing. I normally play in full on realism mode, as you know. And the idea that Joe Anderson could potentially be playing for us in the Championship next year, not just as a novelty act, but as a first choice player for us in the Championship, having been in first choice left back since the National League North, just the whole romance of, well, if he does that, then there's still the possibility he could, if we get into the Premier League in 2 years, he's still going to be young enough then. Joe Anderson is 26 years old, potentially. I mean, if we can get into the Premier League in the next 3 or 4 years, he could go into the Premier League still as a first choice player for us. And that would be mad. We've talked about the lollujo legends, the lollujo Hall of Fame quite a bit recently. But Joe Anderson, if he pulls this off, surely goes right to the top of the Hall of Fame as not necessarily the best player we've ever had, but the most iconic, the most legendary player ever, if he manages to play all through all leagues. Not just as our first choice, but as our captain through all leagues. We picked him back in the National League North, age like 18, 19, just made him captain. Why not? Let's make him captain now. I think he's quite good. And there he is, still captain for us in the Premier League. That would be mad. And it's not even as if I'm just doing it because I feel like having a player that does that. Like with Sir Tom Elliott, the only reason he's still at the club is for fun. But Joe Anderson, he's still not just our best left back, he's still in the divisional select teams as left back every year. Last year he was in the League One Team of the Year. The year before he's in the League Two Team of the Year. Joe Anderson is the best left back outside the Premier League. Have I said enough good things about Joe Anderson yet? I'm kind of hoping that now we've done the whole Sir Tom Elliott thing and we've met him and we've given him his award, presumably. As I record this, I haven't. I assume I've done that in real life now, and it will probably be the intro to the very next episode in this series once I've managed to get the footage edited into a video. But now we've done Tom Elliott. Now it's time to the next part of the quest. We want to meet Joe Anderson. He's in Everton's youth team. I think he's 17 in real life, which I think is old enough to not make it weird that I'm trying to pursue a meeting with him. But if anyone knows Joe Anderson or knows a way to get in touch with some representative of the Everton youth team, I want to meet one of their players. I want to shake his hand. I've got a trophy for you, Joe. I haven't got it yet, but if it looks like there's any opportunity at all to meet Joe Anderson, I will absolutely have a trophy for him. I might even present him with a Nuneaton shirt with his name on and a trophy, because he's a hero. Give him a captain's armband. Presumably you can buy them. I've never seen a captain's armband in a shop. Where do people buy them from, or do they make them themselves? Fisher is running so slowly. It was like he was wading through treacle there. That was ridiculous. This has been a very uneventful second half. For a team that have had 21 shots in a match, there hasn't been many of them that have warranted a highlight. But importantly, we have picked up the win. We do end the episode top of the league. Championship, here we come, everybody. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.